Rain slicks the country club steps like glass. I stand on the bottom riser where the stone remembers every shoe that ever tried to skip a bill. My phone glows in my palm, notary stamp photo on screen, wrong curve, shallow bite. I'm not here to shout. I'm here to hold the paper steady while the night listens. Doors breathe open, laughter spills, dressed in cologne and borrowed virtue. He leads with that boardroom grin that used to cost me money. She follows in a dress that photographs better than the truth. I don't move. I let the rain count to 3 on the brim of my hat. Y'all keep her name out your filing, I say, voice low enough to stay local. No scene, just a line on a map. He laughs, the old laugh, the one he used when he called theft a rounding error. 2 donors chuckle until they notice I'm not smiling. The valet's fob chirps. Somewhere, a string of lights hums like a tired halo. I tilt the phone. The beneficiary account fills the screen. My daughter's name where it doesn't belong. The legal description of her Heights house rides beneath it like a fuse that's already lit. I watch his pupils pinch when he reads it. That's the first honest thing he's done in years. He steps in so the donors can't hear the shape of the words. Walk away, he says, breath sweet, tone colder than the rain. I'll write a number. You take it. She's fine by morning. Numbers are how he kept souls on leashes. I pocket the glow and let my other hand find the flat key, the one that opens a box where truth sleeps until it's needed. Not tonight, I say. Tonight, we let the room read. Headlights turn in from the curb. Government sedan, domestic blue, wrong color for valet. The air tightens. Donors pretend to find new messages on blank screens. A board member smooths a clutch until it shines. Doors click. 2 jackets step out. Badges don't flash. They exist. His laugh dies standing up. Her smile cracks without a sound. I lift my chin so the agents see me, then see them. Evening, I say, and the night holds its breath. If you've ever had your name loaded into someone else's lie, hear me. You don't win this on volume, you win it on proof. Keep your receipts, lock your credit, get your case number, and put every stamp under a light until the paper tells you who it really is. Tap subscribe if you want the complete breakdown of exactly how I box them in, step by step, desk by desk, without raising my voice. And if you think money can't buy silence, watch what happens next when it finally runs out. My name is Daniel Reyes, 48, Houston born and raised. I pay my bills on time, change my own oil, and keep the good memories on a shelf where they won't get knocked over. This morning I'm parked outside the office, cab cooled down, heater whispering on the windshield to fight the fog. Rain taps the glass in a steady rhythm that sounds like a clock I don't have to look at. The Buc-ee's cup in the console is empty, just a sweet aftertaste, and a brown ring bleeding into my ledger page where I set it down without thinking. I should be annoyed. I'm not. I watch the circle spread a little, stop, then hold. How much does a stain say about a man? Maybe enough, maybe not at all. The Galleria's silver edges float in my rear view, soft and ghosted by breath on the mirror. I wipe a corner with the back of my hand. The buildings sharpen. My hands are steady. They look like my father's did at this age. Knuckles squared, a nick on the first finger from a stubborn bolt that wouldn't back out in '09. I flex, listen to the tiny pops in the joints, then rest my palm on the ledger like it's a sleeping pet. Traffic on 610 hisses by in sheets. The truck rocks once when a box truck rolls past, waves of water shouldering the tires. I let the wipers cross once, twice. The glass clears, blurs, clears again. It's a metronome for thinking. I know the smell of wet asphalt through a cracked window without having to open it. Houston does that after a storm, warns you with the air. The ledger is open to yesterday. A paper clip marks the stack of photocopies that still feel warm even though I made them hours ago. Ink raised enough to catch with my fingertip. There's a faint stamp shadow pressed through one page to the next, like the past trying to bleed forward. I anchor the corner with the truck key and watch one drop of rain crawl down the outside of the glass, pulling a crooked line through a film of fog. My phone sits face down on the dash. No buzzing. I asked it to hush. Peace isn't silence. Peace is knowing the next sound won't pull you back into a fire. I breathe once and count to 5. a habit I picked up when my daughter was small and couldn't sleep unless I made the room sound like the ocean. A key ring hangs from the ignition, brass, scuffed. There's the house key, the office key, the little safe key that sticks unless I press it in before I turn. I run my thumb over the teeth. Each cut is a map. Each map opens a door. I remember a hand taking one of these from me a long time ago and calling it fair. It felt like a door closing at my back while I stood outside with a box of my own things. I remember the hollow that follows a lock clicking from the other side. I touch the coffee ring again. The circle looks like the edge of a coin pressed into paper, value left behind by habit. I could tear the page out and start clean. I don't. You don't erase a day because it got messy. You put a line under it and add the next. Out beyond the parking lot, a man in a poncho shuffles past, head down, shoes dark with water. He stops under a skinny oak and shakes his sleeves as if rain could be shrugged off. I think about how some storms come in honest and loud. Some move like a whisper and do more damage than a hurricane. I know which kind I'm dealing with. I look down at the ledger one more time and read my own notes. Block letters, tight spacing, no flourishes, numbers where they belong, names where they belong. Truth lives in small boxes when you teach it to. The cup ring overlaps a line item with my daughter's initial. It makes a crescent over her name. I slide the page a hair to the left so it doesn't touch. A single drop slips from the visor and hits the steering wheel. I can't find the leak. Maybe it's from my jacket. Maybe the truck is as tired of storms as I am. I reach to the glove box and pull out a clean napkin from a drive-thru that no longer exists. I fold it into a square and blot the water, slow, like I'm lifting a fingerprint. The napkin keeps the shape of the drop even after I press. Proof doesn't mind being quiet. It just asks to be kept. I clear the rear view again with the side of my hand. The skyline returns sharp now. Somewhere up there, a tower light blinks red through the low ceiling. Planes line up over the loop. People come and go. I stay right here and let the drum on the roof decide my pace. The truck smells like rain and coffee and paper. It smells like a room I trust. 20 years ago, she took my house key. Today, I carry spares. I say it once to the glass, not loud, just enough to hear it leave my mouth and come back. The words don't bite. They hold. I take the key ring off the column and find the small flat one that opens a box where I keep what matters. Birth certificates, photos, a drawing of a stick figure, family with a dog we never owned. The metal is cool from the air. It shines in the thin light crawling through the rain. I weigh it in my palm and feel the pull that comes with it. Not heavy, just sure. The wipers cross once more. I open the door to the soft hiss of water on hot concrete and step out. My boots find the shallow puddle I knew would be there. I tuck the flat key into my pocket where I won't lose it. Then I press the ledger close with 2 fingers and breathe. The ring on the page dries into a pale halo. The truck ticks as it cools. I pocket the key. Marisol's face lights the phone like a lighthouse in drizzle. She's at her kitchen table with a yellow mug and that spiral notebook she trusts more than any app. "You ready?" she asks. I nod. She shares her screen. A spreadsheet opens. Cells in neat rows. Wire transfers stacked end to end. Dates from the last 6 months. Origin, my old company. Destinations, a string of LLCs with tidy names that try too hard. Sunset Retail Group, Bayou Supply Partners, Magnolia Admin Services. She zooms in. Routing numbers blur at the edges. The lines that matter go crisp. "Look at the memos," she says. I do. The notes say, loan schedule, AR. They repeat like a drum. Draw number 1, draw number 2, draw number 3. The cadence is personal on purpose. Someone wanted the banks to see my daughter's initials and think responsible party. They wanted the paper to point at her when the money went missing. She clicks to a second tab. Bank screenshots. The balances dip after each wire lands. Cash moves again within hours to accounts with no payroll, no rent, no confirmed addresses. She's already checked the Secretary of State site. Registered agents are mail drops, she says. Phone numbers forward to nothing. She flips to a map of lines. Money bounces from downtown to a strip center off I-45 that houses a nail salon and a shuttered vape shop. My voicemail pings. I put it on speaker. A woman's voice, clipped and pleasant. Hello, Ms. Reyes. This is Kelsey with Community Gulf Bank. We're following up regarding the delinquent balance on your personal loan ending in 91. You are now 60 days past due. Please call us today to avoid additional action. The call ends with that polite beep that means the machine does not care about your reasons. The truck feels smaller after that. The rain pulls a straight line down the windshield like a tally. My daughter's name sits on the ledger, clean now that the coffee ring dried into a faint halo. I slide my thumb over the page and ground myself in paper I can trust. Marisol doesn't fill the silence. She knows the shape of this kind of quiet. She opens a third window, a PDF of a loan package. My daughter's name on the signature line. The pen stroke looks good at first glance. Then Marisol overlays a second image. My daughter's actual signature from a car title. She toggles them on and off. The capital R in Reyes is wrong. The loop hooks high, not low. It's a left-handed lift faked by someone who writes what they're right. Notary page, she says. Another screen. The seal in gray relief. Notary. Alma Solis. I know that name. My ex-wife's cousin. Family photos from backyard cookouts flash in my head. Red coolers, cheap folding chairs. Alma laughing with a beer and a button-down shirt tied at the waist like she was off to a rodeo. I remember her habit of stamping things like she was hitting a target, a deep impression, hard enough to scar the page beneath. Marisol highlights the commission number and the expiration date. Commission renewed last year, she says. She's active. She scrolls to the notary journal excerpt the bank provided. The entry says personally appeared. It lists my daughter's driver's license number. I know that number too. The last digit is wrong, off by 1. The kind of mistake you make when you copy from a text instead of looking at a card. I feel heat crawl up my neck and then leave. It doesn't stay. I tuck it where it belongs. They're building a story where she's the grown-up who can't pay her bills, I say. The words land flat. That's fine. Flat holds better than sharp right now. Marisol underlines a memo field with her cursor. This one says Education Trust. Draw Durver 4, she reads. They're using the trust name to make it look like she asked for the money. She flips to a list of cashier's checks cut to a vendor with a name that sounds like a janitorial wholesaler. The address resolves to a P.O. box near a feed store 2 counties over. Tell me the cousin is a coincidence, I say. Marisol shakes her head. No. I breathe through my nose. In. Out. The wipers slide once. The skyline loses and regains its edges. I look at the safe deposit key in my palm. Cool metal. The only sound inside the cab is the soft tick of the dash clock and the rain sanding the world down to shapes. What do you need from me? I ask. Everything you promised, she says. Certified copies from the county, photos of the stamp depth, your older signatures to prove the R, and you call the fraud line to put a freeze on your daughter's credit right now. We'll start a case file and forward to the right folks. No warning shots, no calls to them. We let this breathe a day and they'll rewrote everything. The phone lights with a text from my daughter. Are you up? I type back. Always, and picture the Heights bungalow with the crooked porch light I never got around to fixing. I picture the lean note Marisol hinted at and feel my jaw set. Marisol, I say, if Alma stamped it, we can prove it. Already pulled 3 samples from public filings she notarized last month, she answers. She presses too deep. Same on all of them. This one is shallow, different pad, different pressure. It won't match her journal either. The rain eases. The truck stops rocking. I slide the ledger toward me and draw a line under today's date. Okay, I say. We do it by the book. My girl's name stays clean. Marisol nods once. I'll send you the list. You start at the clerk's office, then the bank, then me. I'll package for the feds. We end the call. The voicemail icon sits there like a little red eye. I don't play it again. I don't need to. I slip the key back into my pocket, put the truck in gear, and pull into the gray morning with the kind of calm that doesn't need noise to feel real. I roll off the feeder and ease into the lot behind the Harris County clerk. The rain has softened to a patient tick on the hood. I kill the engine and listen long enough to hear the sound settle. The safe deposit key presses a small moon against my thigh through the pocket. I take it as a reminder and step out. Inside, the building smells like toner and wet umbrellas. A line of folks cradles manila folders like newborns. I take a number. The red LED blinks once and climbs. My turn comes fast because mornings belong to people who know what they need. I slide a sticky note across the counter with file numbers in block print. The clerk's nails are square and neat. She doesn't ask me what any of it means. She taps, prints, and waves me to a side table with a microfilm viewer and a flatbed scanner that hums like an old fridge. I feed in the deed records, UCC filings, and the notary commission card. Each page gets a red certified copy band in the lower corner, embossed enough to feel through the paper. The metal seal from the counter leaves a raised ridge that won't lie flat under my thumb. I like the way it refuses to pretend it's just ink. I pull the notary's seal log next. Alma's name in tidy cursive, dates in a neat column, a note about personally known here, and DL verified there. I take the first page and angle it toward the lamp to read the stamp depth. The circle cuts deep 2 weeks ago. It barely kisses the paper on the date tied to my daughter. Wrong pad, wrong pressure, wrong day for Alma to go gentle. I lay the forged packet beside 3 other notarizations from the same month. I close one eye and line up the arced words, Texas Notary Public. The curve is clean on the real ones. It wobbles on the one with my girl's name. I take photos with my phone like a surveyor measuring a fence line. Top, side, edge. I slide a blank sheet between pages so the emboss doesn't telegraph and create confusion. Then I ask the clerk for one more search. Property records, I say. Owner, Anna Reyes, Heights address. She looks up. You want the liens too? Yes, ma'am. She prints a short run. The header is plain, all caps, no drama. Deed of trust, assignment of lien. Beneficiary is one of the shell names from Marisol's screen. The recording date sits 3 days after the first wire. I read the legal description, lot and block. The line of text turns the porch light and the small kitchen and the bedroom with the thrift store dresser into collateral. That's the twist. If they default, my daughter loses the house. The thought doesn't get room to grow teeth. I keep it in the notebook where it belongs. I ask for certified copies of the lien in the assignment. The clerk stamps them. The emboss takes like a good weld. I gather the stack and walk to a quiet corner table near the window, where the rain paints lines down the glass like quiet chalk. I open the document pouch I brought, the one with the zip that sticks near the end. Inside is the manila envelope from my safe deposit box. I slide everything in. Notary log excerpts, commission card, deed records, UCC pulls, lien and assignment. The envelope swallows them and lies flat with a kind of weight that makes sense. From my pocket, I pull a new tag and a fine-tip marker. I print 2 letters the way my daughter did on a poster for a science fair when she was 10. AR. I flip the tag and write 4A on the back. The key goes through the small brass ring with a soft click. I tug once to be sure it won't slip free. On my way out, I stop by the counter and buy a strip of tamper tape. I seal the flap on the envelope and smooth the tape down with the side of my thumb until the pattern changes under the pressure. The clerk slides me a receipt. I fold it into the ledger, right against the today's date. The coffee ring from this morning sits above it like a faint eclipse. Back in the truck, the rain has turned to mist. The wipers give one lazy pass and rest. I set the envelope on the passenger seat and buckle it in like a person. The key tag for A faces up. The letters look steady in the gray light. I don't say anything to fill the cab. I don't need to. Tools in place. Plan in motion. I turn the ignition and pull into the slow stream that leads toward the bank. The pit place on Washington Ave runs quiet between lunch and the evening rush. Smoke hangs low over the booths and sweet tea breathes sugar into the air. Marisol sits across from me with a plastic tray and a pile of napkins she never uses. Her yellow legal pad is between the sauce bottles like it belongs there. I set the manila envelope on the seat beside me, close enough to touch. The key tag reads 4A in my own careful hand. I don't open anything. I don't need to prove a point to the only person in the room who believes me before the paperwork says she should. I let it happen back then, I tell her. My voice is low enough that it doesn't travel past our booth. I watched them take the house and the company piece by piece. I signed what I had to sign and kept quiet because I didn't want my girl growing up with 2 people using her as a rope and a tug. Marisol nods like she already knows this part. Maybe she does. Houston is big and small at the same time. Stories get around. She flips a page and writes the date. Then she looks at my hands. You kept your kid out of the blast, she says. No praise in it, just the shape of a fact. I pour tea into the foam cup. It sweats on contact and leaves a ring on the laminate when I set it down. I watch the circle bloom and think of the one on my ledger from this morning. I told myself the price was worth it, I say. I slept in a rental with loud air vents and worked Sundays and smiled at school concerts and didn't pick fights because I decided a child shouldn't see two adults swing at each other through court papers. I paid on time, and I kept my mouth shut. The kitchen bell dings once. Somebody laughs at the counter. The world keeps moving like it always does when your own heart is busy counting something that isn't money. What changed? She asks. I take the key from my pocket and lay it on the table. The metal catches the light that leaks from the neon beer sign above us. They put her name on a debt she didn't ask for, I say. They wrapped a lien around her house so tight it squeaks. They wrote her initials into a memo line a banker reads like scripture. That's not about me. That's not about a bad split or business gone sideways. That's a knife pointed at a kid who grew up and did everything right. Marisol draws a small square on the pad and writes AR inside it. She taps the corner with her pen. So what is the line? She says. I won't warn them, I answer. I won't send a text that buys them time. I won't walk into a room and ask old ghosts to be decent. I'm done with the part of me that thinks peace means swallowing glass. I'm going to document. I'm going to put the right copies on the right desk, and I'm going to hold the door for the people whose job it is to walk through. She lifts her mug and sets it back down. Careful. Another ring joins the first. Good, she says. Document. Don't warn. Keep your daughter off the phone with anyone but the fraud unit. No social posts. No family chat. We aim everything forward. If they call, you don't pick up. If they show up, you don't step outside. I look at the window where the glass reflects rain streaks that aren't really there anymore. My face floats next to a neon longhorn that blinks with a slow patience I respect. I used to think silence kept me from turning into them, I say. Turns out, silence gave them room. Marisol writes one more line. Stakes, home, name, credit. Then she draws a straight mark under it like a fence. So we put up a boundary, she says. No speeches, no scenes. You do the next 3 steps, and you do them clean. I slide the key back into my pocket and touch the envelope to be sure it's still there. It is. The tape edges feel right under my fingertips. Okay, I say. Line in the sand. She tears a page from the pad and pushes it to me. Clerk, bank, me, feds. 4 words, 4 arrows. No poetry. The kind of map a man can follow with a clear head. We sit with it for a breath. The pit smoke curls. Somewhere a pit man knocks ash from a grate. I pick up the tea and don't mind the condensation on my hand. I'm not going to raise my voice, I tell her. I'm going to raise the file. Marisol smiles the way people do when a plan clicks. Good, she says. Now eat something, then go. I park under the overhang at Community Gulf Bank and let the rain beat on the side mirror while I line up the papers on the passenger seat. Certified copies on top. Notary log excerpts next. The stamped depth photos printed on mat so they don't glare. The safe deposit envelope rides shotgun with the tag for air facing up like a reminder of who this is for. I call the fraud unit and tap speaker. A hold tone slides by. Then a voice with a headset calm, name, birth date, the last 4. I give them all. Reason for call, she asks. Identity misuse tied to forged loan packets. My daughter's name was used. We need a fraud alert on her file right now. I can place a 1-year alert. Do you want a credit freeze as well? Yes, all 3 bureaus. Lock it tight. No new lines. No soft pulls except what you allow for this case. Keys click on her side. Done for Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, she says. You'll both get letters. I'm opening a case number. Read it back to me. I write the string across the top of my ledger under today's date. It sits above the old coffee ring like a clean border. We also need to flag a lien that should not exist, I tell her. I have certified copies from the county and a notary comparison. The beneficiary is a shell tied to 2 accounts with you. She routes me to a bank investigator named Ramirez. His voice is steady in the way of people who do this all day. Walk me through what you have, he says. I talk him from page to page. Memos that repeat my daughter's initials. Notary stamp that goes shallow when Alma never goes shallow. The commission number that fits, the journal entry that doesn't. I don't raise my voice. I raise the file. I'll need copies, he says. You'll have them in 30 minutes. I hang up and open a courier app. Pick up to Community Gulf Bank Tower, 35th floor, fraud investigations. Package description reads certified copies plus photos. I tuck the stack into a new envelope, add a one-page cover with the case number, and slide it into a tamper bag. The adhesive turns from blue to gray under my thumb. I watch it change like a light going out in a room I'm finished with. The courier shows up in a poncho that drips into his shoes. He checks the name on the label, scans the barcode, and glances at the 4A tag on my other envelope without asking. Fast run, he says. Galleria to downtown. You'll get the ping. While he pulls away, I call Harris County and ask for the recorder's office. A clerk answers with the sound of a printer in the background. I give her the instrument number for the lien on the Heights address. We're flagging it for fraud review, I say. Certified copies and notary analysis are en route to the bank and to my records. I'm logging this call. We can annotate as disputed during review, she says. Submit your packet and reference this call number. She reads it twice. I write it clean. I thank her and hang up. The phone buzzes. Ramirez again. Got the packet, he says. I'm looking at the notary mismatch. Walk me through the stamp depth. I tell him about Alma's heavy hand, the clean curve on real filings, the wobble on the forged one. He hums once. We'll freeze activity on 2 LLC accounts immediately, he says. Sunset Retail Group and Bayou Supply Partners. If they try to move anything, we'll see it. Do not contact them. Wasn't planning to. I picture the fundraiser from last night. String lights, donors with name tags. The way he lifted his glass when he said family. One more thing, I say. You'll want the country club RSVP list. Table sponsors, payment sources. If any of those buy-ins hit from the same shells, you get commingling and a public timeline. Ramirez types. Already requested from the club, he says. If we can tie donor tables to the shells you flagged, that's pattern. Thanks for the nudge. I drive the last 2 blocks to the bank's branch so I can put a face with the file. The lobby is cold and smells like lemon wipes. I hand the manager a copy set for her records with the case number on top. You don't have to do anything with this, I tell her. It's a courtesy so you're not blindsided if someone storms your desk. She looks at the photos. The wrong R, the shallow stamp. Her jaw tightens. We'll keep it quiet, she says. You did the right thing coming in like this. Back in the truck, the courier ping lands. Delivered. Signature on file. Ramirez texts from an internal number. 2 accounts frozen. Watch for contact attempts. Do not engage. The rain eases into threads. I flatten the corners of my ledger and draw a small square next to the case number. I write pressure applied inside the box because that's what this is. Not a scene, not a speech. Just wait on the right points until the structure creaks where it's rotten. I take one breath for myself, one for my daughter. Then I pull the fray envelope closer and aim the nose of the truck toward the freeway. Next stop is Marisol. After that, the people who wear windbreakers with 3 letters. The plan is moving. The doors are opening. The locks are clicking in a line. The freeway lifts me toward the loop, and the sky opens just enough to smear the rain into a shine. I keep one hand on the wheel and one near the for A envelope so it doesn't slide when I brake. The ledger rides under it, today's date underlined, case number squared, phone buzz, unknown number. I let it ring into a bubble and pop. Text lands a second later from a name I once trusted in boardrooms. Call me cowboy, no punctuation. He always saves his for contracts, not people. Another text follows, green bubble. We can fix this quick. Don't be stupid. I don't open the thread beyond the preview. I take a breath and feel my teeth press together and then unclench. A little discipline is a better tool than a speech. I flick the phone to do not disturb and keep it face down on the console. The truck's wipers settle into a slow rhythm like a metronome for patience. I count 3 passes and let the urge to answer pass with them. The next buzz is a tone I don't ignore. My daughter. Dad, why is a bank asking about a loan? The words sit polite even under panic because she was raised to make questions complete. I pull into the shaded edge of a park and ride lot and put the truck in park so I don't try to love my child while crossing lanes. I type, "I've got you, mija. Your credit is locked. Fraud alert is live. Do not answer unknown numbers. If a bank calls, send them to me." I add a photo of the case number I wrote on the ledger so she can show anyone who needs to see it. Three dots flicker. Stop. Start again. Okay. Should I be worried? I answer. You should be busy living your day. I'll handle the rest. A small heart pops next to my last line. I feel the space in my chest change temperature by a degree I can't measure. Only register. Marisol forwards an email. Subject line, cashier's checks flagged. Body, 2 new checks issued from Bayou Supply Partners, payable to Superior Facility Supply. Remitter ID matches Shell. Vendor address returns null. She adds a text. Vendor doesn't exist. They're trying to move cash under the radar now that wires are hot. Then a screenshot. The routing across town to a drive-through branch that lets people stay dry while they try to make bad paper look like groceries. I copy the check numbers into my ledger and draw a line to the LLC freeze note. The diagram on the page starts to look like a quiet subway map. I take out my phone and send Ramirez the numbers, the vendor, and the branch. He types back fast. Freeze holds. Tell your daughter to ignore calls. We'll capture the attempt. Then a moment later, Country Club RSVP data just came in. 2 tables paid by Sunset Retail Group. Same shells. Good catch. Lightning off to the west. No thunder yet. Houston always gives a count. I watch a drop creep from the visor seam and hang like a bead on a string before it lets go and hits the console with a soft tap. The sound is slight and surgical. I take it as an answer to nothing in particular. Another text from the number that called me cowboy. You're out of your depth. This hurts her if you keep going. He sends a photo I recognize. The Heights bungalow at dusk, porch light crooked, rain working the edges of the steps. Nice place to lose is all he writes under it. He always did prefer implied threats over direct ones, the way men who fear real fights do. I put the phone back face down so I don't wear the next seconds on my face. I slide my hand to the Foray envelope and smooth the tamper tape with the side of my thumb. The adhesive pattern holds. I flip the key on my ring, the flat one that opens the box where truth sleeps until it's needed. The metal has warmed to my palm. Marisol again. One more thing. Shell's tried to add your daughter as authorized contact on a custodial investment account. Denied after freeze. She adds, "We're rolling all this into the packet." Then, do not respond to anyone but me or Ramirez. She doesn't have to tell me twice. I imagine how they'll move when the checks bounce. A scramble across town, a call to a cousin, a visit to a different branch, a text to the notary asking for a fresh stamp. ASAP, a frantic reprint with a capital R that still won't bend right. I see the whole dance from above like I'm watching toy cars trying to beat a train to the crossing. My phone pings with a new voicemail, but doesn't show the number. I let it sit. The ledger takes another line. Imaged fallout versus real moves. Stay quiet. I box it in. My handwriting stays even. The coffee ring from this morning ghosts the top margin like a gentle warning not to leave my guard down where water can reach it. Country Club email arrives from Ramirez. Blind copied. Need complete list of sponsors, payment sources, and donor receipts. The club replies, "Will comply with subpoena." I can almost hear the string lights dim 1 watt over their patio. Money hates sunlight. Paper doesn't. Another text from him. "Cowboy, last chance. Let this go and I'll square your kid's mess." He sends a screenshot of a draft settlement that is nothing but a handshake to a hole. It lists my daughter's name with a number that would look like help until it turned to quicksand under her feet. I take one picture for the file. My thumb and the 4A tag in frame, the voicemail dot on the screen, the checks numbers inked on the ledger. It's not art. It's proof that calm can be documented too. I text my daughter one more time. If you get scared, call me, not them. If they knock, don't open. I'm 5 minutes away, always. She answers with a thumbs up and a key emoji. I smile without showing teeth. Then I put the truck in drive signal and merge into the wet, bright lane like a man who knows where he's going and what he'll show when he gets there. The FBI field office off I-10 sits behind a spill of wet asphalt and a line of flagpoles that don't move much in the rain. Visitor parking is half full. I back into a space so the nose of the truck points toward the exit. Old habit, the For A tag peeks from the safe deposit envelope on the seat. I take it with both hands like it's fragile, even though it isn't. Security is stainless and quiet. Metal tray, belt off, phone face down. The guard nods me through the arch and hands over a visitor badge on a blue lanyard. The badge is warm from a printer that never sleeps. He points me to an elevator that smells like mop water and lemon. Up one floor, beige conference room with carpet that remembers other shoes. 2 chairs on one side of the table. A small flag in the corner. No windows. The vent hums high enough to sound like distance. A case agent steps in with a notebook and a paper cup that's left a coffee ring on a legal pad. He wipes at it with the side of his hand and leaves it be when it doesn't lift. I set the envelope down so the tamper tape faces him. Chain of custody, I say. He nods, glances at the seal, and reads the tag, For A, without asking what it stands for. He puts on gloves the color of an old bruise and opens a new evidence bag. The plastic crackles in the kind of way that tells you nothing gets added or removed by accident. What do we have? He asks, not unkind. Forged packets, a voice memo off a fundraiser, wire maps from my old company to shells with clean names, notary pages that don't behave, a lien recorded against my daughter's house, 2 LLC accounts already frozen by the bank. He writes the key words without looking up. Then he slides me a 1-page consent to provide digital copies. I read slowly because that's what respect looks like in rooms like this. I sign. He sets a cable on the table and I airplane my phone, then plug it in. The room screen shows a rectangle of my life. He watches me open only what matters. Voicemails, texts, photos of stamped depth that dips where it never should. He snaps his own stills for the file, holds each image long enough to see it rather than let it blur into the stack. He lifts the notary page with Alma Solis in gray relief and angles it under the overhead light. Walk me through this, he says. She's my ex-wife's cousin, I answer. She presses deep, always has. This impression is shallow on the date tied to my daughter. The journal entry lists the wrong last digit for my girl's license. Someone copied from a text. They wrote personally appeared to give it gloss. He underlines wrong digit and shallow stamp on his pad. He prints Alma Solis, notary with the tidy block letters of someone who likes the way names look when they hold still. You're doing it right, he says. Don't tip 'em. I nod. I haven't called. I won't. I slide over a small stack from the county. Certified copies with the raised band you can feel with your fingertip. The lien against the Heights bungalow. The assignment to a shell that never met a mop handle. He checks the instrument numbers and writes them down in a column like fence posts. My phone buzzes once where it sits tethered. I flick my eyes. Marisol. I don't open it yet. He gestures. If it's her, go ahead. It's her. Subject, loop. The body is crisp. Funds parked in an investment account opened in Anna's name. Registration shows her as beneficiary. Funding traces from shells, sweep into money market, outward to a third account labeled vendor clearing. E-delivery only, no paper statements. She's attached 2 screenshots from a brokerage portal she got via a contact who owed her a favor. The account number ends in a set of digits that match the memo lines on the wires like a joke told twice. I pass the phone across. He reads once, then again slower. He doesn't say any big words. He doesn't need to. They're parking cash under your daughter's name, so the trail points to her if somebody lifts the rug, he says. We'll get preservation letters out now. Then a records request for the full registration, IP logs, e-delivery settings, and the authorized email. He types while he talks, 2 fingers moving like they have somewhere to be. Another agent steps in with a bar-coded strip of evidence labels and a stack of property receipts. The first agent reads back what we're leaving. 1 sealed envelope containing notarized documents, lien copies, wire maps, and digital media index. 1 digital extraction with voicemails and message threads. 1 photo set of notary impressions. I initial each line in small, neat letters because neat is what today requires. Anything else you want added before we log, he asks. The country club fundraiser, I say. 2 tables paid by the same shells. Name badges, RSVP list. If they use those accounts to buy a little shine, you get commingling on a night they said family into a microphone. He doesn't smile. He doesn't frown. He just writes fundraiser and circles at once. We'll coordinate with the club, he says. We'll also talk to the U.S. Attorney's Office. If this goes where it looks like it's going, we'll need grand jury process for the brokerage and anything tied to that beneficiary registration. My phone, still tethered, pings again. Marisol sends one more line. Beneficiary flag mass accurate control. Emails route to a burner tied to a prepaid plan. She adds a photo of the domain string. The address carries the same 5-letter handle that showed up on a Shell registration last month. It's the kind of sloppiness people fall into when they think nobody's watching. I forward the email to the agent's intake address. He files it with the rest and prints an intake acknowledgement that smells like fresh toner. Here's our case number. If they contact you, do not reply. If you get anything physical, call us and we'll pick it up. Don't move money. Don't agree to anything. Don't discuss this with family except your daughter on a need to know. You're doing it right. Don't tip them. I nod once. Understood. He stands. We both look at the 4A tag without saying the words. He seals the evidence bag and writes the date across the seam so the ink breaks if anyone lifts it. He peels a copy of the property receipt and slides it to me. The paper's warm. The coffee ring on his pad has ghosted a pale circle onto the bottom sheet. I fold the receipt so that ring sits inside the crease like a mark I chose to keep. On the way out, I pass the break room and catch the smell of burnt coffee and rain in the same breath. The guard hands my belt back. The elevator hums. In the lobby, a bulletin board carries a flyer about identity theft with a photo of a key. I take that as an inside joke from the universe and let it pass. Outside, the drizzle has turned to a low mist that clings to skin and shirt. I unlock the truck and set the visitor badge on the dash, like a small trophy that isn't supposed to look like one. I check my phone. Marisol has already sent a to-do. I'll handle the brokerage letters. You keep your daughter off every line but yours. Send me any new text from him. I reply copy. Then I put the phone down, touch the flat key in my pocket, and feel the calm that comes when the right people have their hands on the right levers. I breathe once for the road ahead. The 4A tag rests against the seat like a little sign on a fence. The plan has a spine now. Law steps in. I don't need to raise my voice. I raise the file. Night sits slick on the country club driveway. All wet concrete and brake-like gloss. String lights hang low over the portico, casting warm circles that make everyone look a little better than they are. Valets trot, umbrellas bloom, donors lift wrists to check watches like time will move faster if they stare it down. I take the bottom step and put both feet on the stone like it belongs to me for as long as I need it. I don't hide. I don't call ahead. I wait. The doors swing. Laughter spills, then thins when the air hits it. He comes out first, tucks jacket unbuttoned, tie loosened like mischief is still a good look at 50. He's telling a story with his hands. She's 3 steps behind, arm threaded with a woman from the board, smile set like it was taped there by a makeup artist in a hurry. He sees me. He doesn't expect to, which is better. Evening, I say. My voice doesn't carry far. It doesn't need to. The porch is a bowl that holds sound the way a palm holds coins. Y'all keep her name out your filings. He laughs. It's the old boardroom laugh, the one he used when he called cost overruns rounding errors. 2 donors join in without knowing the joke. One looks at his shoes when the laugh dies without help. I hold up my phone. The screen shows the notary stamp photo, the shallow curve, the wobble where a steady hand would have held. I flip to the beneficiary account summary with my daughter's name sitting where it doesn't belong. I don't wave it. I just let the glow land on his face. You don't want to do this, he says, stepping in like momentum can move me off the step. He smells like good whiskey and the kind of cologne that tries to speak before the man does. Let's not make a scene. I look past him to the donors. No scene, I say even. Just paper. A valet jogs past with someone's keys. The fob chirps. I think of the ones in my pocket and touch the flat key with my thumb like a grounding wire. She eases to his side now, shoulder to shoulder, the way she used to ease into a negotiation as if proximity were the same as power. Her smile holds, but the corners tremble half a degree. "You're confused," she says, like I'm a kid who needs a glass of water and a nap. "You always were when contracts got complicated." I turn the phone sideways so the beneficiary line takes the whole screen. My daughter's name sits there, like an indictment with polite font. I swipe once to the lean copy on the Heights bungalow. The legal description doesn't care who's watching. "This isn't complicated," I say. "You wrote her into your mess and tried to make it look like she walked herself in." He steps closer, voice dropped so donors can't hear the shape of the words. "We can fix this," he says. "You want a number? I'll write one. You take it. You be the hero to your kid. I mop up. You keep pushing, and this gets messy for her." The word messy hangs like breath in cold air. It doesn't last. I angle my head just enough to catch the drive. Headlights turn in from the curb. Low, square, domestic. The government sedan you don't notice until you need to. It noses up slow, not trying to own the scene, just arriving like weather. Two people step out, jackets that look normal until you clock the cut, the posture, the quiet. One of them I know from earlier. He clocks me, then the phone screen, then the man in the tux, then the woman with the taped-on smile. I don't announce them. I don't need to. The air shifts when specific jobs enter a room, even if the room is a front step in the rain. He hears the door shut on the sedan and turns to see who thinks they get to share the stage. His mouth opens to shape a greeting that would work on a maitre d'. It gets strangled halfway through when badges come out instead of claim tickets. "Evening," the agent says, same voice he used with me. Like a man who wants the truth more than the drama. He doesn't raise it. He doesn't have to. "We're looking for husband's name and ex-wife's name." "Babe," he says, but it comes out thin, a small crack where certainty should be. He looks at her, eyes asking for a script she doesn't have. Her smile turns to plaster that doesn't fit the face it sits on. "Is there a problem?" a bored woman asks from the top step, clutching a clutch. The donors behind her pretend they've lost something in their phones. The agent lifts a folder, edges straight. "We have some questions about notarial acts, account registrations, and a list of payments made for this evening's event." His partner is already taking soft photos. Nothing that scares anyone. Everything that suggests the moment will be remembered without favors. I lower my phone and put it away, because my part in this frame is a quiet line that leads them here. "Don't worry," I tell him, still not loud. "No scenes." He tries one last thing, the move that worked for him in rooms where men like their own reflections. "This is harassment," he tells the agents. "You listen to this guy, and you'll burn time you don't get back." "Sir," the agent says, the way a man says sir when he's done being nice, "we'll talk inside." He nods toward the door. The mayor D looks like he wants to object, and then remembers he likes his job more than he likes strangers' confidence. She finds me with her eyes hunting for a hint of heat she can control. If I give her anger, she can call me bitter. If I give her a lecture, she can call me loud. I give her nothing. I keep my hands open at my sides where everyone can see I'm not here to swing. I'm here to stand on a step in the wet and watch paper do what it does when it's lined up clean. "You could have called," she says, a whisper built to carry, so the nearest four donors can hear the word could and think it covers a lot of sins. "I did," I answer, "just not you." The agent gestures again. "Inside," he says, "please." He doesn't touch them. He doesn't need to. Two valets stop mid-stride. The string lights seem to dim 1 watt. Maybe that's the rain. Perhaps it's the part where the band runs out of song. He takes one step up, like he might try to brush past me. I don't shift. The bottom step is a line, and I am a man who knows how to stand on one. He ends up going around, which is its own kind of theater. As they pass, he leans in, keeps his mouth tight. "You'll regret this," he says. He always did love future tense threats. They cost nothing up front. I don't answer him. I look at the donors, at their careful hair and careful shoes and careful checks, written to buy a night where they get to be seen being nice. I hold up my hand, palm out, polite as a church usher. "Enjoy your evening," I say. "Keep her name out your filings." The door closes on the four of them, him, her, the two agents, and the lobby swallows the sound like a stage curtain taking a bow. Through the glass, I can see the front desk, the flower arrangement, the edge of a guest ledger where names lean into dates. I know a staffer try to decide whether to offer water. I see the agent open his folder like a man setting out utensils for a meal that will be eaten whether anyone is hungry or not. Rain ticks. A valet jogs, slips, catches himself, grins at me like we're both in on something. I give him a nod. I pull the flat key from my pocket and turn it in my fingers once. It's not for any door here. It's just a small reminder of which doors matter. Behind me, someone from the board tries to start a laugh to float the room. It gets halfway up and falls. People look down at their phones again. A woman checks her lipstick in a black screen. A man taps his wrist where a watch used to be, and then remembers he traded it for a step counter. The government sedan idles at the curb, respectful. The 4A tag in my truck will still be there when I get back. My daughter will still have locks that turn and windows that shut. I breathe in the wet air, let it fill the places that emptied years ago, and I don't move until I see the agent's shadow cross the lobby like the minute hand on a clock you can finally read. Weeks pass. Heights after a light rain smells like wet oak and laundry soap. The porch light is still crooked, but it glows steady. Inside, the table is cleared to wood. Coasters sit where rings used to spread like quiet mistakes. An honest notary, woman in a blue cardigan with a tidy bun and a smile that reaches her eyes, sets her journal down and looks at my daughter. Sign here, Anna. The pen scratches. The pages breathe. The notary leans in with care that doesn't need to be loud. Seal presses with confidence. The impression is correct. Clean curve. Depth that leaves a ridge you can feel without squinting. She logs the number, checks the license, and nods. You're free of it, she says in a tone that belongs in rooms like this. My daughter exhales. It isn't dramatic. It's a window opening. She hands me the release of lien. The paper is warm from her hand. I don't make a speech. I hold it at the edge where the stamp won't smudge and meet her eyes long enough for the moment to set. On the wall by the door, a hook strip we put up this morning carries 3 keys. House, gate, car. Each tag has her initials in block letters that match the ones I wrote on a science fair poster years ago. She taps the house key once with her finger the way a person does when a small piece of metal finally means safety instead of weight. From the kitchen, Marisol slides a plate of sliced oranges onto the counter and takes the spot by the sink like she's lived here a while. She watches my girl tuck the notary's card into a folder and says, "You did right." Not loud, not for show. A verdict, not a cheer. The rain finds the window again, not a storm, a hush. It paints slow lines on the glass. The mugs we use tonight don't scar the table. Coasters take the mark and keep it to themselves. We talk about the porch light, the neighbor's dog, the way the crepe myrtles out front never agree on when to bloom. We let the big things sit in the folder because they know when to wait their turn. My phone lights with an email from Ramirez. Case moving. I don't open it at the table. It can live in the stack with the receipts and the names and the dates that built the road here. I glide a thumb over the "4A" tag on my envelope and ease it deeper into the drawer where passports and old drawings sleep. Later, when the notary leaves and the door clicks twice the way good locks do, I step to the window. The neighborhood is all porch lamps and quiet tires, a siren far off that fades instead of grows. I raise the release page once, like a man lifts a small flag over ground he loves, and then I set it down beside the ledger. Today's line has no stain, just the date and a square around 2 words. Name cleared. I turn to camera. No music under it, just the rain, soft and honest. Protect your paper. Keep your proofs. If someone's running your name through the mud, don't shout. Document. Write down dates. Save voicemails. Ask for certified copies. If you're dealing with a stamp, take photos of the impression and the journal. Put everything in an envelope and label it for the person you're protecting. If a bank calls, lock your credit and get a case number. If you need law, go to people whose job is to read what you bring and move it forward. If you're in something like this, drop help in the comments. I'll pin resources in the checklist we use so you can start tonight. You don't have to be loud to win. You just have to be exact. I rest my palm on the folder. The keys give a little clink on the wall hook. The rain eases. The room keeps its warmth. And for the first time in a long time, the quiet isn't empty. it's earned. If you've ever had your trust stolen and your name dragged through the dirt, remember this. You don't fight rumors with rage. You fight them with receipts. Protect your paper. Keep your proofs. And when they think they buried you under lies, let the truth do the digging. Hit subscribe for more stories where silence turns into strategy and justice hits back quietly but hard.